Imagine this. You represent your country. Would you decide to say that I only want my own country to grow, my own firms, my own people, my own businessman? Or would you say, I want to embrace global growth? I want to understand the reality that economies are interdependent and ensure that everybody grows. Which side of the coin are you on? Hi friends, welcome to Econverse. I'm Abrar and I'm a fellow student who stopped in my GCSE Economics exam last year in Oman. On this channel, we make learning economics simpler, clearer and hopefully a lot more fun. In this video, we're going to be looking at trade, whether it should be free or whether there should be protectionism involved. So let's get straight into it. In this video, we're going to be focusing on free trade and protectionism. So this is the beginning to a couple of the videos that we'd be making around trade. So firstly, one of the main things that we need to understand before we head into trade is the idea of something called globalization. Now, what is globalization? Globalization refers to the process by which the world is becoming increasingly interconnected. Now, this is a key word, interconnected through trade and other links. Through trade and other links. Now, basically, what do we mean by interconnected? What we mean around here is, now let's say you have country X and country Y. Let's say country Y now is a country that can produce agriculture. However, country X is a country that's more of manufacturing and does not have any agriculture. Now they become interconnected because now country X can buy agricultural produce from country Y and country Y can buy manufacturing stuff from country X. So essentially, this is a situation wherein both benefit. So this is perhaps the whole idea behind globalization. So now let us look at some of the reasons for globalization. Some of the reasons for globalization are: number one, it reduces transport costs. Number two, it can advance communication through internet, etc. And lastly, it can lead to free trade between countries and remove protectionism, which we'll get to towards the end of the video. So these are the three main reasons for globalization. Now let us look at some of the consequences of the economy becoming increasingly global. So some of the consequences are, firstly, let us look at the advantages. So some of the advantages of globalization are: number one, it can lead to economic growth because now you can export, and when you export, essentially your real GDP increases through higher aggregate demand, higher net exports, etc. Then there is cultural exchange, diversity, etc. There is more access to technology, so you can always access better technology from many more countries. You have more job opportunities because now people essentially can move between countries and they can look for jobs in different markets. There's global connectivity. So this could be argued through the internet. You have more connectivity globally between economies, between countries. And now let's look at some of the disadvantages of globalization. So number one is economic inequality. Now, one of the key phrases I think that many of us might have heard in our lives is this idea that the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep becoming poorer. So when you have globalization, this divide could increase potentially. Then you have cultural erosion. So a country's traditions and culture itself may get eroded due to foreign influences. Then you have environmental damage due to high exports, etc. Then you have exploitation of labor. So now, in order to export more, some people may go on to exploit labor. Number 5, you can have dependency. Now, we discussed this in one of our previous videos, wherein if a country becomes extremely reliant on its exports or importing certain goods, certain necessities from other economies, it always puts itself at a risk in case there is a natural calamity, a war, or something that is due to external factors and cannot be controlled. This could possess a massive risk for the entire economy. So we have now looked at all of the consequences of globalization. Now let us move on and let's look at trade, free trade, and the benefits of having free trade. So essentially, when you have free trade, it comes along with few benefits. This is when you have trade without any barriers between two countries. So number 1, the benefit of free trade is efficient allocation of resources. So as we all know, economies continually strive to solve the basic economic problem, which is to allocate resources effectively and efficiently. So when you have free trade, you're reducing the barriers between countries to trade and thus allowing efficient allocation of resources. Number 2, employment increases when you have free trade because now you have lower costs and thus you're incentivizing firms to produce more, and labor is derived demand. Thus, when you produce more, you have more labor. Then your living standards can improve. Now you can access goods and services from foreign countries, and thus you're able to access better goods and services, so it improves the living standards. And then you can obviously have more economies of scale. Now this is how economics essentially becomes beautiful. You can link it to something that we've learned long ago, back when we were looking at microeconomics. You can say when there's more economies of scale, average cost decreases, firms produce more, and thus you can link it back to economic growth. So essentially, you've used a wide range of topics to build your analytical chains. So we've looked at the benefits of free trade, but now we need to understand that sometimes, as we looked at in the previous video, globalization comes with its own disadvantages, with its own risks, and to sort of mitigate these risks, economies take down steps which you call protectionism. Now, protectionism is essentially the way through which the economy sort of preserves itself by putting barriers to trade in between its barriers to trade with other countries so that it can ensure it reduces its imports from the other countries. So now let's look at some methods of it. Some of the methods of protectionism involve tariffs on imports, which increase the price of the imports and thus reduce the demand for them. Then you have quotas. You limit the amount of imports that can enter your country. You can put an embargo, which is a ban, and then you can have quality standard checks. Now this is a form of protectionism, and in some ways it is an important one because it ensures that high quality products enter the economy, ensuring the safety of consumers. Then they could essentially make paperwork expensive, and this can reduce other countries' willingness to export to this country, thus reducing the imports. And whenever imports decrease, the balance of payments of your country would improve because you have more net exports. And then another way wherein they could use protectionism is subsidize domestic firms. So protectionism is essentially, as the word says, an economy's ability to protect itself from the harms of free trade. Now let us look at some of the reasons for protectionism, some of the reasons for protectionism. Some really key reasons for why economies may use protectionism. Number one, to protect infant industries. Let me explain what infant industries mean. Infant industries refer to the new industries with low levels of output and high levels of costs. So whenever you use protectionism, you're protecting your domestic firms from being exploited by foreign firms that can come in, charge really low costs, like really low prices, which can drive your domestic firms out of the market. So you're saving them. Then you can use it to protect declining industries in the economy. Now, declining industries are old industries that are going out of business in your economy. So in order to protect them and ensure that not all of those people working there go unemployed, you can use protectionism. Then to protect strategic industries. Strategic industries refers to the key industries of an economy, such as its defense, its healthcare, etc. Four, they can use protectionism to raise employment and improve trading position. Trading position is basically the trade balance between exports and imports. Number five, they can protect industries from low wage competition. Low wage competition is wherein firms essentially provide their employees lower and lower wages in order to compete with their rivals, and this can be really harmful for those who work. This could lead to their exploitation, and thus this ensures to avoid that. Then you have protect industries from something called dumping. Now, dumping in economics basically means selling products in foreign markets at prices that are below the cost of production. Now, really large firms such as MNCs, multinational companies, which we'll look at in a future video, can come into your country and decide to sell products even below their own cost of production. Now, this strategy is to drive firms out of business. So by doing this, they're eliminating competition from the industry and becoming a monopoly. Such uncompetitive monopolistic attempts are avoided using protectionism. Then you protect industry from unfair competition. So you can have competition which is really unfair, wherein you can have like one MNC that is competing with really small firms and can use methods such as price fixing, etc. to drive out the firms out of business. And in such cases, protectionism is used to ensure that the domestic firms survive. So in this video, we have gone through free trade and protectionism. If you think this video helped you understand economics better, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join the Econverse. I'll see you again in the next video where we